Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to another Sessionwire Live. Apologies for the delay. It appears as though Facebook changed our server URL for our live stream sometime in the last week, and it took a minute to figure that out. Welcome. Today, a little bit different than any other streams that we've done before. I'm kind of resetting our stream schedule, and we'll be releasing upcoming stream subjects in the next few days. Next week will be FL Studio and Sessionwire. People have been asking about this for a long time. FL, ImageLine in particular, the developers of FL have implemented a fix that has allowed Sessionwire's plugins to work. This is with FL Studio 20 and above. There's a specific build of FL Studio 20 that we will talk about next week, and I will show you how you can use our plugins to collaborate online. So stay tuned for that. Today is, as the title states, an AMA, an Ask Me Anything. I'm going to be live here for about a half an hour, kind of puttering away on some things, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have, whether they're Sessionwire related or not. Lots of exciting things coming down the pipe with Sessionwire in terms of features. I may or may not be able to fill you in on some of them, depending on the questions that are asked. So if you're joining me, please say hello in the comments, put your name in there, and let me know where you're tuning in from. While we're doing that, I can kind of show what I'm doing here, so you know you're not in the dark. Let's see. There we go. This is the one that I want, I think, right there. So today I just opened up a session and thought I would fly around in Pro Tools and kind of set up, you know, my Pro Tools streaming setup. Greg, how's it going? You've helped me in the past with connections. Thanks for that. I find I'm hesitant to use Sessionwire with some newer remote singers because of the tech fears on their side. This is a great point. Let me flip back to here for a second. It's a great point, and it's something that we hear all the time from our users is their hesitancy to get the technologically challenged involved in Sessionwire, and that's something that we're actually working to address right now. With an upcoming release of Sessionwire, you will no longer have to ask your clients or artists to do anything that they're not comfortable with. they'll download and install Sessionwire and have an account. But as soon as they open Sessionwire, you'll basically be able to track them into your DAW and hear the audio coming back in time. There'll still be some alignment that you'll have to do after the fact. It's just part of the internet, and without crazy development budgets and timelines to create a way to automatically align the audio in every single DAW on the market, we've come up with a way of allowing you to basically hear everything in time easily and quickly. So keep an eye out for that. You said you use Logic, yeah, and record remote singers all the time. So you'll find this very, very handy, especially with DAWs that you can set up a negative track offset on certain channels when you're recording the audio into the DAW. As soon as you hit stop, it'll snap it forward in the timeline by a certain number of samples or milliseconds, depending on what the latency is like in the call. It would be so much easier if they didn't have to have an account. Sometimes it's the first time I've met them. We're also dealing with that as well. Lots of really big updates coming, particularly the ability to send people a URL and have them join the call immediately without having to be in an active peer-to-peer call to begin with. So keep an eye out for that as well. A pretty massive undertaking on our development team side. We're rebuilding the way that all of the connections work behind the scenes, and hypothetically in the future you'll be able to have up to 1,000 people in a Sessionwire call. Don't take my word for it. That's the number that we're kind of working on at the moment. So yes, very exciting. Can't wait to get it in everybody's hands. Can't wait to get it in my own hands to check out. Coming soon. Yes, amazing. Can't wait. I see we've got a few more viewers here. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Send me a comment. Greg's already chatting with me here. This is what this is all about. I love speaking to people. In the future, I'm going to be having guests on as well. We'll just kind of chat about production and remote collaboration and mixed techniques, all kinds of things. Hopefully, in my case, I'd like to get some of the world famous drummers that we have on our platform on here and talk about drums, because that's what drummers like to talk about. I imagine those are all common requests and points from pros. Yes. Both Canadian drummers. Oh, man. Is that where I recognize your name from? Greg Critchley. I do recognize that name. Awesome. Yeah, see, now I'm going to have to go down the rabbit hole. Yes, awesome. I love talking to other drummers. Raul, what's going on? Khalik. Oh, yeah. Oh, Kim Mitchell. Yes. Awesome. We should connect sometime. Have a chat. Pick your brain about some things. Yes. So all of these points that you brought up are common points from, pros and non-pros, if you want to call, if there's a name for people like that, the technically unsavvy. It's just we're a company that wants to give our customers what they want. I hesitate to even refer to the people that I connect with as customers. Quite often when I connect with them, they become friends. We communicate quite often. This building of a community around the Sessionwire ecosystem is something that we take very seriously. We love to hear from our users, so that we can develop the features that we know that you want. What else? J Digital Atlanta, awesome. Atlanta. I record remote for other people as a drummer too. Yeah, let's do it. Let's connect. I'll send you a Facebook message after this stream, and we'll set something up. Click the thumbs up button to give some love. That's right. Click the thumbs up. Give us a like. Give us a subscribe. Join in the conversation. Surprised at how many viewers I have on this AMA. This is awesome. A fairly impromptu live stream. This is all about answering your questions, concerns, pain points with Sessionwire, or if you want to talk about production and plugins and all that kind of stuff. By no means do I, call myself an expert, but this is kind of what I do for a living as well. So, happy to try to answer questions if you have them. I have the ways that I like to do things, and I like to hear about how others do things as well. So because I'm a drummer and because this is an AMA, we're just kind of looking at a little session that I have put together here. A while ago, I bought a I don't know if you can see it in the background here. Let's flip back to this camera. Back down here, there's a bass drum back there, and there's a couple of toms right there. It's this 1950s WFL kit that I bought, and wanted to throw it up in front of some microphones to, you know, see what it sounds like under the microphones, and was not disappointed at all. So I recorded the sample, and just having a listen to it again in an effort to provide some useful content for people. I'm not sure how many people in the comments mix and record real drums anymore with apps like Superior Drummer 3. Really makes it tough being a studio drummer these days. But I have a studio here. I record real drums out of it for people. I find it very enjoyable. The engineering aspect of it is most of the enjoyment for me. I mean, the playing is amazing, but trying to get really good sounds is a lot of fun. So let's have a look at this here. I've got this drum kit, standard kind of mic selection: kick in, kick out, or kick sub, top and bottom of the snare, and then I have a condenser microphone. It's not actually the shell, it's just a condenser microphone on the top. 2 toms, overhead room, the Verst or Heart mic that's just over the right knee, hi-hats, and then a weird telephone mic that sounds a bit like this. So unprocessed, all of my drums sound like this. Not bad. I quite enjoy that. I mean, recording in a small room is always challenging. So getting a nice clean sound without a lot of first reflections or slapback, from the ceiling right above my drums is quite tricky. So kick drum. Yeah, thanks, Greg. Hope you're wearing headphones or listening through monitors, at least. I think, yeah, you guys have created and built something that's game-changing, what we as professionals could only wish we had years ago. Thanks for all that you do. Propel our industry forward. You're welcome, J Digital. Again, please don't hesitate to reach out to us with suggestions or pain points that you're running into with the software. Support at Sessionwire.com or Brendan at Sessionwire.com. If you want to email me, more than happy to have a conversation one-on-one with you. Lots of crazy features coming that I'm sure you'll really enjoy. I wish that I could tease them all in this video. Summary, being able to share a URL with people without having them download and install Sessionwire is coming. We're looking at general stability increases. We're looking at expanding the functionality of our website, the community website, so that you can actually reach out to people on the website and connect with them directly there before working with them in Sessionwire. What else can I tease? Oh boy, basically an entire rebuild of the connection architecture. It's going to allow us to do a lot more, in terms of streaming concerts and scheduling sessions and that kind of thing. Khalik says, I have an upcoming virtual tweak session with a band who will all be in different locations. Can I have everybody at the same time seeing video, audio in Studio One? The answer to that is yes, you can at the moment, although it's a little bit tricky. It's not tricky, it's just the way that it's set up right now. It's in a beta stage. I can show you how that works right now. So for everybody that hasn't seen, this is the Sessionwire application. I'm going to minimize Pro Tools so that it's nice and clean. There's my Sonar works. This is the Sessionwire app. So in order to share your audio with everybody, Khalik, you will have to call one of the band members. So one of the band members has to sign up for Sessionwire. Let me get rid of this. One of the band members will have to sign up for Sessionwire, download and install the app, and have an account, and you'll have to connect with them. You will call that band member. So I'm going to call Dan Smith here.
Mute his microphone.
So once you're in this call with your artist, if you've called them and they've answered, you will be labeled as the host. Okay? That means that you will be able to broadcast your audio to the other members that will join via session view. So if you mouse over the right-hand side of the app, there's a little phone with a plus sign, and it says Generate Session View Link. You'll click that, and it creates a URL. You can copy that URL and send it to anybody in the world, and all they have to do is paste that in their web browser, preferably Google Chrome, and they will join the call with video and talkback audio and the host's DAW stream. So that means yours, Khalik, if you've called your first band member, and you can go from there. In the future, I'm going to end this call for now. In the future, it won't be necessary to create that call in the first place. You won't have to dial somebody first and then create the URL to send to the other members. You'll simply be able to create a URL and send it to everybody, and they can all join from a web browser. And we're looking at being able to have you control who hears what. So you basically get like a little mixer, and you can adjust who's hearing what, how much of each person's voice you're hearing, how much of the DAW audio you're hearing from whoever's broadcasting the audio. You'll be able to have kind of administrative rights over the streams of audio and video, depending on the role that you assigned yourself in that call. So hopefully that answers your question. Again, more than welcome to reach out to me. Send me an email, brendan@sessionwire.com. Happy to jump on a call, walk you through everything. Yeah, there you go. I'm going to minimize this. We'll get back into Pro Tools here. I just, just fill in time. If you have questions, please put them in the comment section. Let me know where you're watching from. Very happy to answer. Let's check out the snare drum here. So this is the snare drum, all three mics together. Top, bottom. I think that's the condenser. I think that condenser is supposed to be modeled after a KM84 as well. It's a Antelope Audio Verge modeling microphone. So I'll bring this up here so I'm not just kind of talking into the ether. Awesome. Yeah, Khalik. Yeah, good to see you, man. Hope things are well. Stick around if you want. Just some drum nerdery here. If anybody else has questions or just want to say hi, drop your name and your location in the comments. I love seeing where people are from. I had somebody join from a train in the middle of Germany at one point. They're watching the live stream. I thought it was pretty cool. So toms, let's see here. Oh yeah, wide panning. I mean, they're toms. I kind of do some stuff with them, but overheads. Very cool. Rooms. Yeah, the worst mic. It's really crunchy. It's like right in the middle of the drum kit. It gets everything kind of equally, all the shells. I love it because you can smash it and blend it in, and it just kind of brings the whole drum kit together. Hi-hats. It's a hi-hat mic. And the phone. Yeah, again, kind of a vibe thing. You can crush and blend in, and it just kind of brings things together in a cool kind of way. Don Juan Beats, Charlotte, North Carolina. Wow, good to see you. Thanks for joining. I'm not sure if you're just joining, but this is an Ask Me Anything, an AMA. Any questions you have, Sessionwire related, production related, engineer related, this is what it's all about. Just joining the conversation. We've got a bunch of viewers in here, just kind of chatting about certain things. I've got a session I recorded a while ago up, and we're just kind of checking it out. I haven't been in here in a while, so looks like January 4th, 2021 to be exact. That's a long time ago. Okay, so processing here. The kick drum. What do we got? Ooh, wow. Okay, well that's special. Here's the EQ on the in mic. It's when I say in mic, it's actually on the outside because the bass drum has no porthole. It's got a calfskin heads on both sides, and this would be a Bear Dynamic M88, I believe. Though it might have been before I had that. Either way. Off. In. Interesting. So looks like I was just going for some of the attack in the mids there. Then the out mic, it's just all sub. And then together. And then on the two mics summed together, there's this EQ here. Looks like pulling out some 300, high passing a little bit, adding a little bit of point. And then decapitator on there as well. Ooh, yeah, nice distortion. Great. Okay, so then the snare drum. What do we got here? Trim, I'm just using to flip the phase on the two top mics to align with the overheads. It's a typical kind of trick that I do. Not a trick, it's just what I have to do. The Levanta, there's nothing on the Facebook page. Interesting. I've been having some issues with Facebook and live streaming the last little while. And it's just not sharing the stream keys correctly. That's frustrating, isn't it? Oh boy. I'm gonna have to see if I can post this in here. 1 second. Let's see. Copy link. Let's see if we can get it on the Facebook page here. Discussion. Yeah. Pardon me. Nothing. I know that pain. Yeah. This is now the it's been a couple of weeks that it's been doing this. Today I just found out they switched our streaming URL without really giving us any kind of notice. So yeah, that's been lovely to deal with. And I think Streamlabs desktop is giving me some grief as well. So thanks for your patience. I'm going to post this here too. There we go. Okay, so if you're just joining, I see more people coming in. This is an AMA, and Ask Me Anything. Ask your questions about Sessionwire, non-Sessionwire related things. Tell me your pain points. What are you struggling with the most when it comes to remote collaboration? Over the internet specifically. Prior to technology like Sessionwire and some of our competitors, the standard kind of workflow for working remotely was trading stems back and forth using file sharing services. So what we're striving to do is bring all of this technology, all the different platforms that you may have been using in the past, into one place so that you can stream your performance across the internet in real time and somebody can produce you from afar. Or you can present mixes to clients and have them approve from afar in the comfort of their own studio, which I think is huge for a lot of people I mean, I particularly know my room pretty well. I know how it sounds. To go and do a mix review in a studio that I'm not necessarily familiar with would be a little bit disconcerting, particularly if you're spending lots of money on mixes, which is entirely possible these days, a la Chris Lord Algae and those types, something like $10,000 a mix or something like that. Probably worth it. Reserve judgment. Jumping back into the session here. If you have questions, again, please drop them in the comment section. Happy to answer. Just looking at a session that I had worked on quite a while ago and checking a few things out here. So here's the snare drum mics all combined. And this EQ, just pulling out a bit of a ring here. If you have headphones on, you can probably hear this. That's all I wanted to do there. And then this SSL strip. A little bit of high pass, a little bit of low pass, adding some sparkle, pulling out some 300, and some compression. There we go. Delavanta's got questions. Do you charge your same rates or do you offer incentives for people choosing the remote option? That's a good question. And I think that's it's very personal. I think it's kind of a very subjective kind of thing. I, for one, charge the same rates because I still offer the same services. It may take less time, but it still takes me the same amount of time to prepare for that session. Like I have a console here. I like to dial in some sounds. I like to get the mic placement right. I like to choose the correct instruments for that song. That's like the kick, the toms, the snare drum, the cymbals. If there's percussion, I usually track percussion as well. Any editing that needs to be done, I like to do that because I know the intent. My intent when I was playing it, whether it's you're just editing timing or comping things together. I charge the same, and I don't think it's that egregious. It is when you look at services like Sound Better, though I don't necessarily agree with what people are charging in Sound Better. Oftentimes, I think there are some people charging like $20 a song on Sound Better, and I think that turns it into a bit of an assembly line in terms of just pumping songs out all the time. I like to still take my time with the client on a Sessionwire call. It might be a couple hours working on one song, but at least they're there. And I can say, what do you think about this kick drum sound? Is this mic placement good? Does this sound good to you? Is this EQ what you're looking for? I do a lot of work first and then to bring the client in for live revisions. I guess there's two scenarios, right? Tracking the drums is one scenario, and I'll do a bunch of prep before that. I create a template, I map out a tempo. They usually send a 2-track for me to track along with. I'll chart it out, I'll try some ideas, and then I will bring the client in on a Sessionwire call, and they'll watch and produce as I throw down 1, 2, 3, 5, 6 takes, whatever it takes to get them to a place where they're comfortable with what I've done. And then I'll often still edit what I've done. I can comp things together if they want a comp of certain parts. I can slam it to a grid if that's what they're going for. And then I'll often send them the entire Pro Tools session or all of the stems of every single take so that they can go and do what they want with it after the fact. So it is still a lot of work. And for that reason, I don't change my rates, whether they're sitting in the room with me here, whether they're remote, whether I'm going to a studio to track a tune. It's all the same. What does change sometimes is if the number of songs is, if there are a lot of songs, often I'll give a discount. If it's like, okay, we're going to record an album, there's 10 songs, I'm not going to charge my full rate. If it's 10 songs, it'll be reduced. And because at the end of the day, I want to make music. I want to play on people's records. I want to, work with different people. So being prohibitively expensive just to make a buck is like, that's not really my thing. At the same time, I just had a kid. I got studio upkeep to do. I like buying plugins. So, got to make a living. A man's got to eat. Greg says, I have a question. Can you talk a bit about me controlling, directing, engineering a session remotely on one of my songs? So, hiring a singer or a guitar player or whatever from anywhere else, typically one at a time. Are we at the point where it's kind of doable? What would that look like? Yeah. Yes. So this would be two scenarios, okay? Or two workflows. One of them, the second one is we're not able to do it yet, but that's what we're working on. Scenario one, you as the producer have Sessionwire open on your machine. Alongside it, you have some kind of remote desktop control software. We recommend Splashtop SOS. We also offer Splashtop SOS at a discount alongside Sessionwire, $10 USD a month for this service. What your client would do is open their DAW, open Sessionwire, and then open this little widget for Splashtop that gives them a 9-digit code that they read to you. You enter it in your Splashtop app, and you're controlling their machine just like it's yours. You're monitoring and producing through Sessionwire while using this remote desktop control software to control their DAW like it's your own. That way, they're hearing everything in time on their side of the call. You're hearing everything in time come to your side of the call because the 2-track and their voice or performance is coming at the same time. It's aligned. And you're not dealing with any kind of network instability. So any kind of interference over Wi-Fi could cause issues in capturing sound remotely, if you understand what I'm saying. Scenario two, what we're working on. You have your DAW open on your machine. You have Sessionwire open. You get your client to open Sessionwire, log in, connect on a call with you. You start streaming them audio, and they can perform along with it, and you hear it coming back to you in time, and you're recording their performance into your DAW. There's still going to have to be some time adjustment after the fact, but you'll hear it coming in time, and you'll have to nudge their performance forward after the fact. Scenario two, coming soon. Scenario one, we can do that right now. Get in touch with me. I can set you up with Splashtop SOS. It's $10 USD a month extra. Through Splashtop, it's something like $25 a month. So yeah, get in touch with me about that. Don Juan Beats, can you use Sessionwire with FL Studio? Yes, you can. As of one of the most recent releases of FL Studio, ImageLine has fixed the issue that was causing FL Studio to lock up when using Sessionwire plugins. For whatever reason, FL Studio wasn't compatible with our plugins, and that's not an anomaly. There's a whole web page on their support site about issues that third-party plugin developers have had with FL Studio. So yes, you can use it with FL Studio now. Next week, Wednesday, 11:30. Oh, let me get the time right. Time change. Next Wednesday, the 25th, at 10:30 a.m. PST, I'm going to be doing a live stream about FL Studio and Sessionwire. Tune in, check it out. You get an email about it next week. It'll be great. Delavanta says, Splashtop compared to TeamViewer or Chrome Remote Desktop. So TeamViewer, we don't recommend you use because TeamViewer has a tendency to hijack audio drivers, and it's not good. So when you connect on a Sessionwire call, sometimes TeamViewer will pull the audio out of Sessionwire and you can't hear each other. You can't hear the DAW audio. Then it's all a big nightmare, and I have to get involved in troubleshoot, and it's just not worth the trouble. Splashtop, very slick, very stable, pretty lightweight, doesn't do any kind of crazy audio hijacking. Yeah, Greg says ditto read TeamViewer doesn't work. It can. It's a kludge trying to get everything set. So Splashtop, highly recommend. Also very easy for your client to do. All they have to do is visit remote.sessionwire.com. It automatically downloads a widget. They open the widget. They read you the code. They're in. They don't have to really install anything or create an account or anything like that. So Chrome Remote Desktop also works. Similarly to Splashtop SOS, you get a code that they read to you and you log in to control their machine. So, yeah, it's similar. Although Splashtop, highly recommend. It is worth the extra 10 USD a month if you're doing lots of remote work where you need to control another account. If anybody's just joining, let me know where you're joining from. Throw your name in the comments. Ask any questions you might have, Sessionwire related or not. We're just kind of going through a little drum session here, and I'm answering questions as I go along. Could I log into my account on 2 computers at different locations, or would I need 2 accounts? Polly, Corey, what's going on? Oh my goodness, lots of familiar faces in here. You have to have 2 accounts. Only one. You can only log into one location at a time with one account. That answers your question. So if you have 2 computers that you're using, you need 2 accounts. Only one of them will need to be paid if you're connecting between the 2 of them for both sides of that call to get all of the Sessionwire features at one time. So hopefully that answers your question, Delavanta. Paul, man, we're due for a coffee. I miss you. 3 hours away is a long ways away. We need to make some music, drink some coffee. Yeah, Corey, same thing. Let's hang. We've been talking about doing some work together for a while. Let's make it happen. Getting back in here, the snare drum channel, Decapitator is the last thing on the channel here. Yeah, punchy, slappy. Tim, how's it going? Yeah, it's come a long ways. It really has. Yeah, and it's about to get crazy. Sometime over the summer, I think we're looking at least teasing some of these features that are coming. So keep an eye out. Toms. So Toms, what do we got here? Yeah, usually I'm scooping out some mids, adding some attack. Looks like I'm adding a ton of lows. High pass, low pass, a little bit of compression. And then on. Oh, and gating. Yeah, I gated them a little bit. And Decapitator. Just kind of adding some girth, some heft. I think with this session, I was trying to get most of the sound from the overhead and room mics, and then supplement with close mics. So we'll see what the overheads are like here. It's a trick a really good engineer in town taught me or showed me. Use a stereo width plugin and bring the lows all the way to 0. So it combines all the low frequencies into the middle of the stereo image. Helps with some, potential phase issues. And then I have a channel strip. Yeah, not much going on here. Just cutting some 1.4 high and low pass filters and then compressing the snot out of it by the looks of it. Yeah, not really compressing the snot out of it. Pretty light. And then the width knob spread out all the way. It doesn't really do anything, I think. Yeah, it's not really doing anything. It just lives there. Room mics, same thing. Stereo width to bring the lows all the way into the middle. And then some sparkle and a lot of compression. Take the peaks off the transients a little bit. It'll let the close mics kind of poke through a little bit and not mess that up. The THD, yeah, I usually throw some of that in there. Basically just like harmonic distortion per channel, kind of meant to emulate the SSL. And then the width knob, again, just lives there. So yeah, happy with that. The first mic, so the Heart mic, I can't remember the engineer's name. He's this German engineer, kind of a mad scientist looking guy. Does a lot of kind of weird pop, punk, electronica kind of stuff. He was just putting an SM57 right in the middle of the drum kit and then doing all kinds of weird things with delays and compression and stuff like that. I'm not doing any delays. I am, however, using Wolf compressor, which is fantastic. If you know the band Wolfpack, unreal band. Got a question here. Don Juan Beat. So the main way you record an artist remotely is basically by controlling their screen and their DAW, so you can record and engineer them. Yes, at the moment that is the best way to do that. If not, only to avoid any kind of network interference that may happen. If they're on a bad Wi-Fi connection, it's best to record on their machine so that it's all being recorded locally. You don't miss the perfect take, right? In the future, we'll have a feature that will make it really easy for you to do it the other way. But you'll still have to make sure they're connected by Ethernet. Otherwise, you could miss out on that perfect take. And we don't want that. So hopefully that answers your question. The first mic here is dry. And then wet. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's kind of elongating the tail of everything, kind of crunching it up a little bit of the lo-fi, so taking the high end off a little bit. Hats, I don't know, probably nothing. Yeah, flat. High pass way up at 500, I guess. Yeah, just to get rid of the bass drum and the snare drum in there. And then the phone mic, again, has Wolf compressor on it. Less, like zero lo-fi, because it's already really, really lo-fi sounding. But the compression... Oh, yeah. Really great. Really elongates everything in a really kind of tasty way. Okay. Here we go. Full mix. Everything together. Yeah, pretty good. Still sounds kind of flat, not a lot of excitement to it yet. I do add some reverb on the snare drum and toms. I'm using Valhalla Room, big snare room, so we'll kind of throw this in the mix here. Off. Cool, yeah. Brainworks Townhouse compressor on all of the drums together. Off. On. That's a lot of compression for me. That's 4 dB of compression is. I'm kind of like of the. I'm kind of the George Massenburg school. I like things really clean, lots of dynamic range. This has got a cool kind of vibe to it. That's all I'll say about that. Corey says, compress your snare drum verb return. Yeah, I mean, I could. I'm definitely not in this session. This is from 2 years ago almost, so things have changed. And also just, depending on the session. I don't do things the same all the time. I hate doing that. I don't have like a set way of mixing all of my music. It's very much dependent on the style. And sometimes you don't need that. So I guess I didn't need that in this one. I also, I have like Pro Q2 that follows it to filter it if need be. I didn't feel that it needed that this time, I guess. I have a parallel drum bus here that I only send my shells to. So the kick, snare, and the toms go to this parallel bus right here that has vertigo on it. Off. And on. Yeah. So then usually what I'll do is I'll just kind of blend that in. Yeah. a little bit more attack on the drums, a little bit more low end. Yeah, there you go. Everything funnels down to the drum aux. There's nothing going on there. Just because it's all drums, I waited to do all that compression and processing on the master bus. Shadow Hills, mastering compressor on everything, I guess. Yeah, adds a little bit of grit, a little bit of excitement, a little bit of compression. Nothing crazy. Again, you know, on the master bus, there's a lot more going on here. So, virtual tape machines, the first thing on the master bus. There we go. Yeah. Virtual tape machines. Then into Townhouse again, apparently. Just a hair compression. Nothing crazy. So this isn't doing anything really. It's just for color, I guess. Sometimes just putting the plugins on a fader and just running things through it adds a little bit of color. Into FG Gray by Slate Digital. A little bit more compression, usually way less than 1 dB on this thing, so we'll see what happens. Just a color thing. What else? Okay, a little more mastering grade EQ, adding some highs, taking out some 250. Very nice. Magnum. A little bit of stereo width and the air band. No, there's nothing on the air band. A little bit of compression, though it's not really lighting up. So just width, and then limiter to end. Dilavanta, I'll get to your question right after this. Don't know what that fill was, but yeah, so there you go. That's the whole session. And at the end of my master chain, I've got the Sessionwire Send plugin, which is how you're all hearing what's happening here. And it's also how all of the audio will end up in Sessionwire. So if I play, if I was connected to somebody on the other side of Sessionwire, they would hear exactly what I'm hearing in my studio here, which is great. Dilavanta, what's your system configuration and interface? So where to start? I have all of my drum microphones. Let's see if we can flip out here. All of my drum microphones go to this guy over here. Let's see if I'm pointing in the right place. You can kind of see it here. There's a console right here. So 16 channels of analog preamps and EQs. It's a 1975 Soundcraft Series 2 that I didn't use on this session. I only bought it a couple months ago. So all of my drum mics go into here. They all come out of there, and they go into an Analog Audio Orion Studio Synergy Core and a Focusrite Octapre. So I have 20 channels of XLR input that I can plug things into. So I use 16 of those to get all my drums in, and then I've got 4 left over for things like this microphone. All of that it goes into Pro Tools. And then for monitoring, I'm using a pair of Yamaha HS7s, though I just ordered some new monitors the other day, and they should be here soon. I'm really excited about. And I have an Audient Nero monitor controller that I cannot say enough good things about. I love this thing. It sounds really good. It's got some digital ins on it. It's got a set of 4 sets of inputs, 4 sets of outputs, 4 headphone mixes on it, though I don't really use those. And it's also digital, so you can set up all kinds of cool configurations on it. So that's what I have for a system. I got some other, kind of cool toys. I mean, if you're into like fancy stuff, these Stream Decks are really cool. So I have that. It's got some buttons and things that I use in certain pieces of software. I have a Behringer X-Touch 1 with a motorized fader for doing fader automation. I've got an Akai MPD 218 that I use for programming things, and then I've got a Nectar keyboard that I can play stuff on. As far as the computer goes, I'm running a 2010 Mac Pro 5,1. This thing still rips, and it's 12 years old. 12 cores, 96 gigabytes of RAM. There are 2 M.2 drives in there in the PCIe slots. There's a USB 3 card in there. There's a, what is it? An MSI RX 580 video card. Pretty powerful video card for its age. And then in the 4 hard drive bays, I've got, a series of solid state and spinning hard drives for samples and video storage and that kind of thing. For backups and everything, I have like a hard drive dock that connects via USB 3.0 for saving things. I find that's the most cost-effective way of backing things up for me. I can just buy hard drives. I don't need enclosures or like the fancy lacy stuff or Grace drives or anything like that. So yeah, there's a guy in Toronto. I don't know if he's still doing it. Toronto, Canada. He refurbs Mac Pro 5,1s. He gets them all up to speed. I think you can get them up as high as Catalina. Mine's running Mojave, and I'm really resisting upgrading because everything works so well. But you can get up as high as Catalina because he's flashed the system on there for that operating system specifically, and yeah, it runs smoothly. The NVMe drives or the M.2 drives that are in there are lightning fast. Yeah, it's great. I can run huge Pro Tool sessions on this thing, and I don't have any issues. Also, I think using plugins like the Plugin Alliance stuff helps a lot. Really great sounding plugins. They don't take up a lot of resources. Streams are so smooth, even working with plugins. Yeah, it's awesome. It's a great little system. I'm not even sure what kind of system usage we're working with here. Let's see if I can. Okay, so she's working. Here, I'll see if I can show you this here. So my system usage here, up around 30%. The buffer size obviously plays a big role in that. So I'm at 1024, which is, a mixing buffer size. If I was tracking through Pro Tools, I'd set it to 128, and I would use less plugins and lighter plugins. Usually the SSL channel strip by SSL, so the solid state logic SSL9, I think it's the channel strip 2 is what they call it. That's what I use when I track so that I can hear EQ moves and compression, and then I'll switch to other plugins if necessary. Reverbs are terrible for that, adding processing. Anything on a master fader. If you look at my master fader, I've got 4,700 samples of delay, and it's largely coming from this Pro L, I think. So if I get rid of that, that's, almost 3,000 samples of delay. Magnum is none. FG Gray is none. That's none. Soft Tube is none. Townhouse is none. Tape. So the Slate tape is almost 1,800. So, Plugin Alliance plugins are great. They add virtually no latency to your sessions. Anything by Slate seems to add some. Fab Filter is really good. No delay added there, though a little bit processor intensive. Sound Toys, some of them add things like Decapitator always adds, 62 samples of delay. So, yeah. If you're looking for a machine, I can't recommend it highly enough. If you're not looking to break the bank, the new I can't wait to get my hands on a new Mac Studio. But if you're not looking to break the bank, you can get a jacked up Mac Pro 5.1 for not a lot of money, and there are still parts out there for them. So this has been fantastic. I can't thank everybody enough for joining this stream. I'm going to call it here. It was supposed to be 30 minutes long. This is now almost an hour. I think it was fantastic. Lots of great questions. It's great to see familiar faces in the stream. As always, if you want to reach out to us, support@sessionwire.com, Brendan@sessionwire.com if you want to send me an email. Visit our site, www.sessionwire.com, for signing up for your free account, your free creator account. You can connect with anybody on Sessionwire through the video and talkback streams free of charge. After you upgrade, you get access to the HQ audio stream, the auto mute function, file transfer, and a bunch of other things. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Otherwise, we will see you next Wednesday, 10:30 a.m., for a short tutorial on how to set up FL Studio alongside Sessionwire. We will see you there. Cheers.